offseason. I mean, he's a dynamic runner. He can make the big throws, but it's his decision-making, and throws on the run is what he had problems with last season. So it's going to be interesting to see what improvements that he's made. They're not going to have losing Nelson and McGlinchey. It's going to hurt. They're not going to be able to push that left side of the line. But at the same time, I am kind of on board with not having those guys and not having Josh Adams is going to kind of open up the offense a little bit more, because as the season progressed last year, you just kind of had a feeling, and it became kind of predictable that when Josh Adams was in the game, he was going to run behind those big guys on the left-hand side. And Josh Adams he's a big running back. He's stand-up. He's a straight-up runner, and he's going to run downhill. And it became more and more predictable as the season went on last year. Now, I think hopefully Brian Kelly's just trying not to tip his hand. Hopefully Dexter Williams is going to play. He is looking at 4 games or something like that. Possibly he'll be suspended for, but I'm not sure how all that's going to work out just yet. But he's not tipping his hand, so hopefully he does play with Tony Jones Jr., and these guys are actually great in the passing game also. Hopefully they can utilize both of these guys and open up that running game and open up that offense even more in year 2 under Chip Long's offense.
Guys, talking about Notre Dame, and I think and we're going to get into this Urban Meyer conversation here in just a moment. But I think just a couple years ago, we were hailing for Chip Kelly's head. He turned not only his season around last year, guys, but he turned around his job security there at Notre Dame. As we well know, I'm going to poke the bear a little bit here for both of you Notre Dame fans. You guys are the loudest people in the room. It does not take much for you guys to swing the other way and start calling for his head. So what does Kelly have to do in order to keep that from happening? Either one of you, go right ahead.
Do you mean Chip Long, or do you mean the head coach Brian Kelly?
I mean the head coach Brian Kelly. I do it.
Yeah, you had messed me up there.
I got tongue-tied to Chip Kelly. I meant Chip Long for the offense. You're too.
Yeah, I do it all the time. I'm sorry. Too many Kellys. Go right ahead. The head coach of Notre Dame. That's what I'm talking about.
I would say at this point right now, he is getting clear. Of course, keep in mind, Lou Holtz, this is around the time Lou Holtz was starting to be pushed out the door around this 9-year mark. The thing is, who's the next superstar coach that is out there that could take this job? And right now, as far as I'm concerned, Rick, there's only really one coach out there maybe that you would go after at this point, and maybe that's the coach at Minnesota or the coach at Purdue. Other than that, I really don't see a coach out there I think that could handle the strain of the job of handling the Notre Dame head coaching range at this point. If you get rid of Kelly, I don't know if there's really many options that are favorable out there, because everyone keeps thinking they're going to go after the super big coaches. But as we've seen over the last several coaching searches, those guys like the Stoops and et cetera do not want this job.
So how much there was a little bit of smoke, and maybe it's just internet rumors, but I feel like there's a little bit of smoke. But they actually talked to John Harbaugh a couple years ago after they had that 5-win season. Is there any truth to that?
That's a name I haven't heard, believe it or not. I haven't heard Harbaugh's name, either one at this point. The names that I keep hearing are the small ones, like the coach, like I said, I think it's PJ. I think it's either, what is it? The coach that's at Minnesota, and then obviously Jeff Brom.
Yeah, from Minnesota.
At Purdue are the two that I keep hearing. Obviously, Jeff Brom almost
PJ Fleck
went elsewhere. Yeah, PJ Fleck. Jeff Brom, like I said, Purdue almost went elsewhere to this past offseason. So those are the two big names I would say out there that maybe would be in the running for the head coaching job that I would be looking at. But beyond that, I just don't think, unless the wheels fall off if they lose to Michigan, which I think, unlike Eric Hansen, some of my other colleagues at the South Bend Tribune and with WSBT, they are poo-pooing that. But I think if they have a poor performance to open against Michigan, it could be another long year. And I think at that point, maybe the heat starts to pick up again on Brian Kelly.
917-889-8516 is our digits. My name is tom-marquis, El Presidente. I am your loyal host. You'll pay homage to us for the next 2 hours. I'm on loan from God so that we can bring you the next 2 hours of great sports talk. And today is kind of a little special episode that we're doing to kind of get you ready for Breaking Rank that starts on August 22nd, 8 p.m. right here on the Balanced Radio Network. We hope that Matthew can join us as much as he can to talk Notre Dame. Rick's going to be leading the ship, if you will. And Matt, I know you wear another hat with the show too. You're our official IndyCar contributor. No IndyCar race this weekend, of course. But just for housekeeping records and just to appease all of our fan base so we don't forget any of them, talk with us a little bit about what's going on in IndyCar, get us caught up, and then we're going to get into the biggest college football story ever, at least to record, in my opinion. Go right ahead, Matt.
Right now, the key man right now is Scott Dixon. It's in just two ways. One is he is the championship leader for the IndyCar Astor Cup. Second is this rumor about McLaren possibly going to IndyCar with Fernando Alonso, and Scott Dixon's name has been brought up as a potential teammate. Dixon has confirmed that he has talked to McLaren, but nothing has been signed at this point. He's in the final year of his contract with Chip Ganassi. So ultimately, right now, if you're talking about the center of the IndyCar world right now, it's all about Scott Dixon, not just on the track, but off the track at this point.
Well, absolutely, and certainly Scott Dixon's been very, very impressive. And we're going to stay with the IndyCar talk going forward into the weeks as IndyCar gets back on the track. Real quickly, Steve Wilson, our NASCAR contributor, is in a wedding this weekend. Rick, you know oh too well what that's all about, to get to play dress up and drink beer. So that's what he's doing.
Not off the hook for that. He's not off the hook for that. I actually called in the show when I was in the wedding, earlier this year. He's not off the hook.
Yeah. You did. We'll publicly shame him next week. But, Matthew, we'll kind of lean on your racing expertise, if you will. The NASCAR does not have the weekend off. They're up at Watkins Glen up in northern New York. Certainly always a great show. And if you like Rex, well, tune in to the Glen, NASCAR at the Glen this weekend.
Well, if you talk about guys, the road course specialist, obviously the one guy that comes to mind as far as making the chase is A.J. Allmendinger. If he doesn't get it done here, I just don't see how he gets into the chase at this point. And if you look at other possibilities as far as road course aces, Kyle Busch's name comes to mind, Kyle Larson, Jimmy Johnson. I'd say at this point, any of those four would be good bets because, again, it's not about car here at a racetrack like Watkins Glen. It's more about skill. Over that, and still trumps it. And I'd say right now, if you have a road course background or a little bit of a road course favoritism, you'll have a good weekend, especially when we get the green flag tomorrow. And certainly with the spot in the chase up for grabs, certainly one could be taken by a driver that we don't expect to get into the chase otherwise.
All right, guys, let's get into it. The biggest story in college football in recent memory, and I think that you'd be hard-pressed to find a bigger story than what happened this week. And Rick, we're going to kind of start off with you. You're going to be the host of Breaking Rank. This is kind of a Breaking Rank free preview, if you will. Every Wednesday night, though, at 8 o'clock, beginning August 22nd, Rick and I and Matt and whoever else that we round up to join us in our panel of expert Mo from the BS Sports Show will join us as well. We're going to be breaking college football down on the best. So I guess two things, guys. We'll start with you, Rick. We'll go around the horn. First of all, Rick, tell us about the story, what it is. Give us your personal hot take, and then give us your professional opinion of what you think should happen and will happen. Go ahead, Rick.
All right. I will start off by saying that Urban Meyer is not the victim here, and Ohio State is not the victim here. Courtney Smith is the victim here. And I think in these past few days, especially yesterday with the Urban Meyer statement and the interview with Zach Smith coming out, it makes everything look even worse. If you watch that interview with Zach Smith, I have not seen anybody look more guilty than that interview he did yesterday. He looks like an abuser. And then the statement put out by Urban Meyer now where he's saying he did send this information up the chain. Now he just threw his athletic director, Gene Smith, under the bus and put it all on him and the Ohio State administration. So we're going to let this investigation do its due process and find out what's going on. But my opinion, as I see it here right now, I feel like Gene Smith and Urban Meyer are both going to be fired sometime before the season starts because Ohio State is not going to let this go into the regular season. So, Matt, I guess we'll turn it over to you on this right now.
I think at this point right now, this could end up being just like what's happened with the Arizona basketball team. When Sean Miller was able to keep his job, I have a feeling Urban Meyer is going to find a way to keep his job. The two guys that I point the finger at blame, though, are Gene Smith, the athletic director, who has not done a good job of righting the ship after all the problems that happened under the previous administration. And then it's got to be the school president, H. Gordon G., who has continually tried to shove these incidents, the Claret incident, the other incidents that have happened recently, under the rug. That is a person that is not fit to run a school like this if he is claiming academics are the key thing, and yet these issues involving the athletic programs keep happening. So I think if you're talking about two people that deserve to lose their jobs, Gene Smith is one of them, and I'd say Gordon G., the school president, both deserve to be getting pink slips before the end of the year is out. But I just have a feeling that this will be like Arizona, where Sean Miller was able to keep his job. I have a feeling Urban Meyer, unless something else comes up, is going to stay as the head coach at Ohio State.
Well, guys, here's the thing, and I am totally 100% in agreement with Rick and Matt, the both of you guys. I am totally think that this is not a good thing, not a good look for Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer's a good coach, bad guy. We saw the mess that was created down in Florida from Urban Meyer. Let us not forget that in 2009 that he knew about this situation. So, here's the thing. I find it very I mean, Rick, you're married. I've been married. And Matt, you know how husbands and wives communicate with each other. It's very, very rare that the wife and the husband do not communicate about what's going on in their life. You lean on what you hear what Urban Meyer said, that his wife is his sounding board, is his partner in crime, if you will. In this case, no crimes were committed by Urban Meyer. So here's the caveat or the pickle that we're in here. So what we have is we have one side of the fence, which clearly he covered up an abuser, and that is wrong in every sort of way. There is no excuse and no room for any man that puts their hand on a woman. I'm sorry. I don't, there's just no excuse for it. There's a lot of ways to express and keep in mind, back in 2009, when this couple was 24 and 26 years old, she was pregnant when the abuse happened. So here's the thing that has happened here. Gotta hold the line here between two things. Ohio State is going to fire Urban Meyer. Make no bones about that. I totally agree with Rick. I think that's going to happen. Now, what happens, though, with Ohio State is they've kind of pigeon-toed themselves, if you will, because what they've done is they said, okay, we're going to have an independent counsel, a total independent counsel, do an investigation. Well, 3 of the independent counsel is board members of Ohio State. So I don't know how independent it actually is going to be, but they have taken the effort to say, hey, we're going to have this independent counsel review this. Now, is it to review whether or not we're going to fire Urban Meyer? Nope. That decision, I think, is pretty much already made. The decision is, did he do something egregious enough with it written in his contract? So they have to do this legally. They don't want to pay him the $32 million or whatever it is. I'm sorry, I don't know the exact number, but whatever is remaining on his salary. I think it's $32 million, but I could be wrong on that. But whatever that number is, they don't want to have to pay him that. So they have to find just cause. Now, just cause could be, did he violate any NCAA rules? No. The answer to that is no. Just cause, did he bring shame, or did he did he put Ohio State in a bad look? Yes to us, but clearly no to his alumni. There's no public statements about alumni pulling money. There's no public statements about advertisers pulling money. So the answer to that is still no. Then the other legal part of it is because of this husband-wife relationship, just like a lawyer and a client and a doctor and a patient, there's boundaries that can't be crossed. So at the moment, they have no just cause to fire Urban Meyer. Now, they can do whatever they want, and they will. They will fire Urban Meyer. Let's be very clear about that. What they're trying to do